So welcome, everyone. This is DPF on Tap. It is Season 3, Episode 24. We have Philly royalty in the DPF garage tonight. Our guest isn't funny. He's a Philly time machine. Isn't just funny. He's a Philly time machine. He's the guy who takes you back to sitting in the 700 level, transistor radio in hand, listening to Harry Callis paint the picture when the Phillies were on the field and everything else could wait. He's been the voice behind the voices for over 30 years, bringing us the soul of the city in stereo, from Chase Utley to Charlie Manuel, from Merrill Reese to Mayor Street. If it happened in Philly, he's probably nailed the impression and the punchline. This is a man who doesn't just do Harry Callis, he channels him. And when you hear it, you will swear that Harry never left. He's a lifelong fan, a WIP legend, and the only guy who could probably call an entire Phillies game by himself in the voices of every broadcaster who ever lived. Please welcome to the show the one and only Joe Conklin.
Yay! You missed one line that I wrote, actually. Yeah.
I'll send you my PayPal after. So, Joe, when I was looking up some of the things that you've done, and I saw that, and one thing I want to say, there's a lot of people from Olney and Kensington here, so watch your wallet. Just be careful.
Saw the Olney ice.
And I've taken inventory of the booze here.
Okay.
So, we had the same priest at Doherty as you did at Roman, Father McManus.
Let's have all the ID cards. Stop the talking. Yeah, he reminded me of Keith Jackson. I remember. He was a father. Yeah, I thought he was a brother. I'm thinking of Brother Al. Yeah, McManus was a bigger dude. He was a real hard ass.
Oh,
yeah.
So Rob and I went to Roman together, and he would like just some of the things that he did just like cracked me up. But then when you did his voice, and I was like, that's Father McManus. Then I had to look it up, and I was like, did Father McManus go to like teach at Doherty? Because he would say, my last name's Polish, Novacek. Back in the day, they gave out grades, and he's like, you got 100. He's like, I've given out 200s. One was to a priest, and one was to you.
That's fantastic. You're on his good side.
Well,
wait, they don't give grades out in school anymore?
Well, saying out loud.
Okay.
Like, back when we were in Rome, that was kind of a thing.
How did you know that I did McManus?
It's because there was a video that you did when you were outside of Doherty.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I was like, wait a minute, Father Thomas McManus. So what do you think Chip Snapper would say about this audience, about this?
You got a lot of room in here. Plus, it's double the crowd we usually get at noon with the dancers for the men. But it's a nice place. I don't see where it lives on tap at all. And do you have pickled eggs?
Oh, of course.
2 for $35 down our place. You can't beat it.
So, Joe, how did you first get started in comedy and doing impressions? And who were some of the first impressions that you attempted?
Oh, man. I guess I started when I was a little kid, like 5 or 6 years old, doing it at when company came to the house, or we were over somebody's house for Easter or Christmas. Anytime there was a crowd of relatives. So we were all mimics in our house. I'm one of 7 kids. Both my parents sang at church, so it's got to be a genetic thing. We're a lot of singers in our house, and everybody was doing.
Well, we all had a Bill Cattle impersonation. My 2 older brothers. Oh my!
And my dad used to imitate Bishop Graham. He would call the house because my dad sung at funeral masses. Jim, we have a 10:15 and 11 this week, and so it was ingrained in our house, our family, since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Luckily, we were all sports fans too. It just melded together and got to make a living somehow.
Yeah.
I have a 3-part question now, so you gave me.
How many people are hosting the show? What the hell's going on here?
I know, right?
Oh my!
So, first of all, you said you're 1 of 7. Did your parents not have TV?
Yeah.
The other thing is.
No, we had one black and white downstairs on top of the broken collar. Piece of furniture.
Anyone you tried to master a voice of and couldn't quite get, and you have a favorite one to perform that gets the biggest laugh?
Well, that's three different questions
I
there.
know.
Probably the favorite one is this one right here. It's just the pleasant voice, the Residents, whiskey combined with cigarettes and a bad heart. Harry's the greatest. I love them ever since I can remember. The guy I never could get was John Madden, and then
I started doing them after I heard the Caliendo and the boom right there.
But I couldn't get him for years, and probably the
one that gets the biggest laugh is, of course, the big fella. By the way, you paying taxes on this garage? This is awful. Bad things happen in Philadelphia. We all know that. We're gonna throw a tariff on your ass. 30%.
So there's the answer to that one.
Joe, so you've been with WIP for a long time now. How did that partnership start? And one of the things I wanted to ask specifically is there anybody there that you work with on, I don't want to call them bits because they're genius, but on your bits? So is there anybody there that you've particularly written with that's just over the years that really?
IP started. My first job in radio was with WCAU FM, Terry Young Hot Hits in '86. Real quick, make a long question longer. I went to Temple, started in radio, television, film. I was told at some point, the money's in sales. You should go into sales. So I kind of switched a little bit during there, started taking a couple of sales courses. I actually sold pots and pans in college and China, and I did okay. I went to Bermuda twice on, those programs. Similar to Cutco knives. You sold the knives.
Let's be honest, we all did.
So I started, I got an internship at Channel 17 in the sales department, which was the best thing that ever happened to me. Anybody who wants to get into any field, really, internships are the way. I mean, you get in the building somewhere, you start making contacts. And so I got an internship at 17. They were sending a lot of people, a lot of our former interns up to Trenton at a radio station called 101.5. It was Kicks back then. It's now a talk show format. Anyway, I was selling out of there right out of college. Lasted about 6 months. It wasn't my thing. I started doing stand-up. Then about a year later, a guy I worked with in sales, Dave Dobler, had moved on to WCAU AM in Philly. He said, "Hey, we're going out for happy hour over Fridays on City Line." Why y'all dragging that up? So we're at Fridays. He said he starts coaxing me to do voices for this other dude who's actually in sales and programming on the FM side. So they liked I was doing people like Wilson Good, Rodney Dangerfield, Eddie Murphy, and I made a tape that night. They said our new morning guys are looking for a guy that does voices. So I came in, I did okay. He said, "You can come back tomorrow." So I came back the next day, and I got a job out of it. Then about a year and a half later, they changed formats. In our business, radio, you're kind of hired to be fired. They're like baseball managers. Nothing stays. So then I'm kicking around for a couple of years. WIP goes all sports, and meanwhile, I'm doing stand-up. My act is basically sports. I'm doing Harry Callis and Merrill Reese and people like that. And I said, this format's made for me. I got to get a tape out. So I sent a tape out to the PD, Tom Bigby, Brookie and the Rookie, who was on at that time, the producer and the morning show producer. Nothing happened. So I called Bigby several times. He said, we don't do comedy here. Guy by the name of Joe Wechter is producing Jody Mack's show in the afternoon. Sees my tape lying on the desk somewhere. It's about a foot from the trash can. He puts it in. He said the bit that he liked the best was when I was doing Harry and Whitey. It's like, well, to say happy birthday out there to Marilyn McKenzie in Absecon, New Jersey, Whitey. Good place to get gas, Absecon. Yeah. So it was just the pause that got him. And Wechter calls me, or Jody Mack calls me, calls the house. Hey, Joe Conklin, Jody Mack. Like, holy shit, Jody Mack. And Jody just came to town, you know. And so I started calling Jody Mack once a week, Thursday at 2:00, and I had to write, 5 new minutes and more like 8 new minutes every week, and three voices. It was crazy. I was doing people like Jim Lydom, the Sixers, and poking on the radio. And nobody could see me. I did Johnny Mathis once talking about the Phillies wild Spanish pitcher, I remember, and I sang some kind of song. Chances are, if he hits the backstop on a fly, I forget what it was. Did Neil Young once on the phone call talking about Jim Solano was the agent of some Eagle at one point. All in a dream, all a Jim Solano dream. I forget. But anyway, that was 91 or ish, somewhere around there. So after about a year, Big B called me and said, I think this is about run its course. We're done with this. And Jody Mack went to bat for me, so he kept me on a little while. Meanwhile, so around 93, a little before that, Morgani starts hearing the bits. Joe Wechter had moved to the morning show. Morgani starts hearing, me on Jody Mack, and says, this guy's really good. We should get him on our show. And they started bringing me down on the morning show. Al Morgani would write he would come up with the idea, and he would write the bits. And that's how I got on the morning show. And I know what they did. Yeah, with the Phillies in the World Series in '93, we did a song on Jody Mack, Yo Canada. They were playing the Blue Jays. Somehow the Blue Jays couldn't stay at a downtown Philadelphia hotel. I forget. It was Yo Canada. We put you out in West Country or some shit like that. I forget. And that got me into the morning show, and then I stuck there. And Tony was there still. About 6 months later, he left because he had a showdown with Big B. He was late every Monday because he did an ESPN show and on ESPN radio. And, most people give you a little courtesy. Big B said no, and he made him quit. So he quit and he left. He never came back. That's a shame. Tony's great dude, great broadcaster.
So, Joe, I know that Ricky Waters didn't particularly like you.
He was after me. He was looking for me.
And I know Dick Vermeil at first didn't love what you were doing. Is there anyone else that we don't kind of know about that was not particularly happy with what you were doing?
Well, those are the two that come to mind. Also, Bill Berge. Bill Berge would come over and shake my hand and squeeze me to death and then give me the bear hug and really try to fucking hurt me. You make me sound like a munchkin, and I don't.
And it's interesting because, I guess at one time, that's what you wanted to do, is be able to talk about anyone however you wanted. But at another point, it's now it's handshake. WIP and the Eagles are best friends, so you can't do it. So
yeah. You did we have a pre-interview here?
I did some homework.
You do have some information. Everything's changed. It's not the same anymore, and that's like anything. Nothing stays the same forever. The truth is, the fan base has changed. So my act may be out of business. We never won before. We never won when I was growing up. Everybody was angry. They were pissed for years and years. They thought the players and owners were shitting on the fans, not giving effort. Why can't we win? It's because you don't try hard enough. And then, the Phillies win the World Series, everything starts changing. Eagles win the World Series. The whole attitude of I don't know if it's good or bad, but I mean, it's certainly good for Pat Frain's business. He's the real estate magnate. People are buying homes in Philly. That's why. But the angst isn't there anymore, and there was no, Cataldi, love him or hate him, and he was one of the best. He's obviously a legend in the sports talk format. He came in every day and said, who can we rip, man? Who are we going after? And we would have to take his orders and go write a bit. And It's not that way anymore because people are in love with their players, their teams. Half the hosts on WIP anymore. They have this. They're afraid to rip. To rip the teams.
Yeah.
And there was an incident probably about 15 years ago. Our GM at the time was Mark Rayfield. I forget. There was a bit about the Eagles, and it's just phase 2. I'll go back in another story in a minute, but he said that when we started carrying the games on WIP, he took me out to lunch, sat me down. He said, "You got to realize, if we don't have the Eagles, neither you or I have a job. So you got to back off." So yeah, we're corporate partners, and that's changed the world.
It's funny you say about the fan base changing because we see that even in our own social media. Like we're old school. If a guy strikes out with the bases loaded, we're on there saying how bad he sucks, and and we have
classy, huh?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. But we're we have some hardcore fans that really enjoy that. They say you guys say what we're thinking, but then we do have that portion of the fan base. You guys aren't real fans just because we're not sitting there going, "Yeah, the Phillies are so good. They're in first place." Like when the Phillies fall down, we're not afraid to call these guys out, and I think that's a trait that, like you said, sports talk has definitely lost. There's no edge to Philly sports talk anymore.
No.
It's all happy clappers that we call them. Like, hey, we're in first place. We won. Oh, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. It don't matter, if they fumble the ball 5 times, on opening, the first Sunday of the season. And that's not the way I was growing up.
Yeah, exactly. It's a societal shift a little bit. People are softer, kinder, and gentler. I mean, we know more. We know more about mental health and people's troubles and anxieties and things like that. And but the fact that it came into pro sports now, I mean, you see it. Guys giving mental health days and stuff like that. And the old school athletes, though, I mean, they welcome tough coaching and tough fans. It does happen still at times. But yeah, by and large, you're right. It's totally different.
Yeah. What do you think makes Philadelphia provide so much great comedy material for your act?
Oh, just that there's so many people here. There's 4 teams. There's a high level of interest. We were all over everything, every little thing. I mean, it's even magnified now with social media. But years ago, I mean, one of my sources, a fellow by the name of Pat Frame, would always fill me in if I wasn't up on something. I heard this, or we love sports, man. It's like all we have. We're just into it. So, and the other thing is, athletes are larger than life. I guess they still are. They're making way more money. But when you're growing up as a kid, being down on the field and seeing how the size of these athletes, it's a big deal. You see them on television, and we used to want to run on the field and get on TV. You want to somehow get a touch, and the fact that we can scream in their face, and that's the only way we. So that was the only thing we had at our disposal. So yeah, I think you're talking about why they give us so much material in this town. I don't know. There's a lot there. Thankfully, honestly, the real reason is so many people are into sports here. You got Philly's a unique market too. I mean, New York's obviously, bigger. It's about 5 times the size of Philly, and they got twice as many teams. But you got everything up there. You got arts, you got media. It's the media capital of the world, the Broadway and all that. Yeah, Philly, we have our sports, and I think that's part of it.
So I'm gonna go to some comments. Do you do a Jim Cantor?
Who's Jim Cantor?
I was like, I have no idea.
That's the guy who
I don't
chases.
Is it? Remember the guy? Remember Pat McGloon called the radio station one time? Says, Could you? I'm talking to Norman Brayman and Bill Campbell and asked them to do like Frank Wrigley. You have any interest in Frank Wrigley in the upcoming draft? That's what just happened.
The weather
Who the hell's
center-
Jim Cantor?
I have no idea.
And he got on the show.
He's
Yeah.
from the Weather Channel. He's the guy who's the ball guy. I guess that's the connection. Don't worry, I got it.
Oh, the Weather Channel. No, we watch sports here.
How about nails?
Yeah, man, it's Christ Nails, man. It's like it's been a scumbag I've probably ever seen, man. Nails.
That guy, was he still alive?
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Barely.
Is he in jail?
Barely.
He talk about
He's
self.
upstairs, Joe.
Yeah, I should watch. He's got nothing to lose. He's got no teeth, no job, no clothes. He, he's you don't want
He's
to
in
mess
trouble.
somebody that doesn't have anything to
He's got a
lose.
car wash to sell you, though.
No,
Wow.
that's when he was doing well.
No stocks.
The guys from Dockery Hall of Fame dinner say hi.
Very nice. The soccer team, I guess.
Yep.
That's the good guys.
And there was one more. Oh, can you do a little bit of Dan Baker with a starting lineup?
These changes for the Phillies.
One of the best ones.
For Montreal, first baseman John Bacabella. Center fielder Del Unser.
That was the first one I did with Dan. Dan Baker was one of my first ones ever, and I did center fielder Del Unser. Poor Dan had to get up there when they changed the ended Dollar Dog Night at the vet. Well, I'm sorry, at the bank.
These changes, all fans are asked to now hold on to their wieners. Thank you and enjoy the ball game.
That's what I love about Dan. You know, the nicest guy, soft-spoken, mild-mannered Dan. But when he gets on there and requests everybody to stand for the national anthem, he gets such so angry.
Please stand in honor of the United States of America.
Sometimes I think he forgets JK's last name too. By the way.
Real Muto.
Last one before I get to a question. Had Harry Callis on the answer machine message on our phone for years until my wife graduated college. Said it wasn't appropriate for her clients to leave a message. So thanks, but
What's her name?
that was Paul. I don't know what his wife.
So Rudio.
Hello, Paul's wife can't come to the phone right now. She's doing something downstairs in the basement. I don't know what his name is, but she went out for a long drive way back. It's got a chance out of here at the tone. Leave your name and number. We'll be happy to return the call.
That was my college. That was my college message. The Harry Callis. That was awesome.
Do you think that your work resonates more with Philly because of your local connections?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. I mean, my buddy used to say bridges are kryptonite to me. You know, my accent is good outside of 50-mile radius. It's not.
So let me ask you how you've been doing this for so long, and we were talking about kind of how sports fandom has changed with social media and things like that, and having greater access to the players. What about comedy itself? Like, how has comedy changed since you started? And then
Oh, God.
a little bit of a follow-up there.
Well, I think there's more opportunity, obviously, and there's more with YouTube and any kind of social media. You can get your act out there and you get a following quicker. You know, it used to be you had to go through certain clubs to be seen. Johnny Carson was the only late night talk show. I mean, look at that. That's only 30 years ago or 25 years ago, whenever he died. That is a while. It's funny. You think of Carson. It's already been 30 years, man. Or what's 95 is 30 years ago.
That's an outrage. It's ridiculous.
Did you raise your hand, sir? You want to buy something?
So, my follow-up to that is, with your impressions, has there ever been, because, so people are more sensitive now, and that's why they like follow us, is because we're not sensitive. So the people who are like
I don't
willing
know.
to come out of it. So is there any
There's
impression that like when you do it, was there anyone in particular where you did it and you immediately were like,
Well, yeah,
oh,
once
no.
you get a job, you have to watch losing it, you know?
Sure.
So that, I mean, I've been on the radio for, God, it's 40, it'll be 40 years next year. And yeah, you got to, everything changed, you know, you just can't say certain things. I mean, all through the advent of social media and the new, you know, the media, the new media and all these channels and everybody cursing, even with cable and all that. You have to, you can be canceled even way before cancel culture came along. If you say, you know, you use bad language or say something, you know, racial or anything to get yourself in trouble somewhere else and it comes out, then you can lose your job. It's kind of like when we were in high school. Remember, Doherty, you couldn't, if you got drunk at a football, if you're drinking at a football game and a priest caught you, it's like doing it at a school. You get thrown out of school. So yeah, you have to watch your behavior when you start growing up and getting a job and things like that. You got to watch your behavior all the time. Now, I always work clean because I thought that was how you got more work. But you know, that's not the case for a long time now. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. You just, why start trouble? Why bring trouble on? You know, you got to walk the line. There's decency, there's all that. But some people rise to, you know, fame by going that route, you know. So there's outlets for that, you know. But it wasn't the one I was going to take.
So, Joe, when I was looking around, I saw that, you know, the City Rhythm Orchestra and you collaborated.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's like this beautiful dinner show where you're kind of like doing your comedy, doing some of your voices, and you have a beautiful orchestra behind you. How did this happen? And when is something happening next?
It is pretty crazy. And it's a different type of show. It happened because you know, I already did a couple singers. I always wanted to sing. You know, I do singers, and I wanted to do more of that in my act. And who doesn't want a band behind them? You know, who doesn't want their own band? I mean, it came together about 5 or 6 years ago. Mike Baldini, who is the guy that he's got a marketing company. He works for Parks. He handles their buying and selling of media. Puts together a lot of special events.
Okay.
He's the guy that got me in there to do the regular comedy show at Parks. Well, at one point, he said he wanted to do a dinner, kind of a roast or toast, a bigger show for the big room, actually. And he said, why don't we get Fran Dunphy and Charlie Manuel? We'll toast them. It won't be a roast because you don't want to go after them hard. And you know, Dump's son is a singer in an orchestra. So we used his band and some of their singers and stuff, and a guy by the name of Pete Spina to kind of bring it all together. Pete has a different band, City Rhythm, but Mike was familiar with Pete, brought him in to facilitate and bring us together and make sure the show went okay. And it was a great success that night. And we did a couple songs. We you know, it felt great. I had teleprompter out there too. I remember that.
Because you have like a full orchestra. There's like girls singing and they're like, you know, doing the dancing. And it's like, I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's a little throwback type of
Yeah.
thing. You know, it's an old time thing. But it's a larger show. We get larger venues. It's been fun as hell. I got my brothers involved. My daughter sings, my niece. So that's kind of, you know, been a little, I don't know, dream or whatever. You know, I've always kind of wanted to do that, to bring it together like this. And we're doing it in this show, which is fun. So we'll see how long it goes.
Then I got a text message from Glenn Mack now. He wanted me to ask
Is he watching?
I hope so. He wanted to know what you're doing October
Glenn.
15th. What are you doing
Dude,
October 15th?
only Big Daddy is better than Glenn for the plugs. Yeah, of course, we got this other show going with Glenn and Ray Diddinger. It's the Phillies top 10 moments. Well, they keep winning World Series and Super Bowls. It's like 11 or 12 now. Yeah, that's a great show too. We use highlights and some pictures and those two legends talking about the great moments. We count them down, we're just three of us sitting there, and I'll do bits in between when it comes. Glenn will give his opinion or introduction of, say, the 74 Flyers Cup. Ray will add, he was there. Those two guys were there for that. Glenn was in Buffalo at the time. And then I'll do Bernie and Clarky and
Can I go to the bathroom in your house, ma'am? I have to go number one. We're number one. I will go to in your house.
But yeah, that show will be. Where are we going to be, Glenn? Are we going to be?
So it's the up in Canower. It's West.
Oh, that was Westchester. Yeah, great theater.
Yeah.
The Canower Uptown Theater.
Yes.
Yeah, on High Street.
So, what's one of the most memorable or challenging shows that you've ever done?
Well, challenging show, comedy show was when I opened it for Leon Redbone. I just started. It was like 86, 87. Had to be 87-ish at the. Oh, it was a great gig. It was a big gig at the Chestnut Cabaret. One of my. I was just starting, but it was a big event for me. Had told my family to come down. It was at least 10 family members, and I hadn't really worked in a while, and I was a little nervous. So I think I had a couple beers before the show, and that was right around the time when Gary Heidnick got arrested, and I figured let me just hit him with some Heidnick stuff right out of it. And from the opening gun, they were booing, and I think somebody threw a glass cup at the stage. It was horrible. I got booed off the stage. But I had to stay up there. In my mind, I had to do my time to get my $40. You can't call the game for darkness, which I did too. Yeah, that was the roughest gig I've ever had. The best gigs were the sports banquets because Philadelphia Sports Writers Banquet we did every year for that's got to be 30 years too. Mid 90s, going back to the Adams Mark Hotel. You're sitting there with people like Dick Vermeil and Iverson, Larry Brown, Clarky, Bernie, of course. You're doing their voice right to their face. I remember Pete Rose. I was ripping Pete Rose about the gambling and stuff like that. One time, the best one was at the Adams Mark. George Steinbrenner sitting right next to me. Here's the microphone. He was seat one. Tommy Lasorda is like 2 doors down. It's usually just Philly people, but Lasorda was being honored. He had his whole family there. And Steinbrenner, I forget, the Yankees got an award of some sort. George sitting there. I said, George already fired 2 waiters. He hired one of them back. And Tommy Lasorda had health issues. He had to take a little absence in the middle of the season the previous year. And I said, they always said Tommy bleeds Dodger blue, but when he started turning Dodger blue, they got concerned. So far, the count is 2 balls and 2 strokes on Tommy. This is at a banquet. They're all there. They always got laughs too, man. Always got laughs. So Lasorda got all pissed off. Like he had no sense of humor. This guy, you could tell with the Fanatic when they got in the throwdown with him. He seriously hated the Fanatic, and he was beating him up when he was hitting him. He was really hitting him. So Lasorda gets up. He retaliates. He's burning. He is burning. But he didn't get to speak until about 45 minutes later. Nobody remembers what happened. He gets up there and starts looking at me and so just hair club for men jokes and things like that.
So a couple more from the audience. We need a Merrill and Mike, please.
Here we go. We're in the garage, Mike.
I know, nothing but white people in here. I'm gonna get up there.
Mike, it's sensational. It's all Phillies. Of course, I'm voice of the Eagles. Merrill Race. I just like saying Merrill Race, voice of the Eagles. I enjoy saying that. I'm only 4 feet tall, but I got a big bad voice. Listen to me. Merrill here along with Mike Quick.
I got your back there, Merle. Keep going. You're doing good. Don't mention me anymore.
Here he is, Blackberry. What?
That's Bradbury.
Blackberry. Running with the football. Blackberry.
Bradbury.
What about Frank the Tank?
Frank the Tank. Hold on. You mean Hank? Who's Frank? Frank
the
Wrigley?
Tank. Mets, big Mets fan.
I don't know if I know him. No.
All right.
Big
Tim,
Mets fan. What
you're
the hell do
out
I
of
get?
luck.
Hey,
That's
fuck the
nuts.
Mets. Fuck the Mets.
Okay, well that was the next one.
Isn't that the song?
Harry says fuck the Mets.
Yeah.
Back those Mets.
In the just a little while ago, Joe, you said you've been doing this 40 years, so you're gonna have to go on the Wayback Machine. But if
Sure.
you weren't doing comedy, what do you think you might be doing these days?
Selling cars or weed.
Probably both.
I was selling cars for my first before that's the last job I had, the real job. I sold ads for the Trading Times and the Auto Boat, and I sold cars at Campus Nissan on North Broad Street, 6500 North Broad. And then I got the call to go out to happy hour and go drink it with my old buddy. And that's when I got the job in 86. But who knows, man? I don't know. I'd be hustling something. Probably doing something with Pat Frayne.
I was wondering who got
Polishing-
everyone in here.
Polishing lead. It'll be our secret. Don't worry about it.
This is Herb Dannenberg. Have you seen this man?
So, Joe, real quick, we've had a lot of heat this summer, and we've, right now it's a little cooler out. But like, if we needed a weather report, what would tornadoes?
Hey, fella. Hey, got the heat. It's a lot of smog out there. You know, we script all those things. Haven't done the thing live yet, so we got to do it a little impromptu here. Smog is also known as pollution. You know, that can come from humans too, that pollution. Had a hot weather gal by the name of, she had halitosis. Had to get a mask. One night I used a helmet. Watch out for debris. We had a
Tornadoes are great, by the way.
Tornado Shapiro. It's Tom LeMaine. It's Tom LeMaine and the Grease Man put together. That's the voice.
I had a guess.
Hey, Tom LeMaine here. Tom LeMaine's got probably the best voice I've ever heard, next to Harry Cal. Harry Callis, Johnny Mathis, Tom LeMaine. TL, how you doing? TL.
Wasn't the bishop calling your house like he sounded very much like Harry when I heard you do?
Yeah. He was deep.
That's like
Bishop Graham, Rocky. Yeah, a little bit, yeah, a little bit. Yo, you come up at a funeral, you know what I mean? Bishop Graham. That was our claim to fame. St. Helens was that was our parish. We thought we were a big deal because we had the Bish. We had John J. Graham. He was in the yearbook every year.
I think he confirmed me.
Yeah.
I think so.
What did he confirm? That you're an asshole?
Obviously.
Sorry.
That's like
It was
30
sitting
minutes
there.
to figure it out. Comedy gold.
His wife seconded it too. She just gave a thumbs up.
Yeah,
over
she's
there.
like, obviously.
Agreed. She didn't even need the holy oil for that. She just threw her thumb
Yeah,
up.
didn't need the prism. Who, when you immediately heard them, you knew that was one of the people that you had to impersonate, other than Harry.
Well, it doesn't go like that. It's like I try to do everybody. And if I hear somebody I think I got, you want to put them forward, I'll start doing them. Do the voice around the house. I'll do them in front of my friends at work. And if they catch on, they know what it is and say, oh, you get a head turn out of it, then you got something. I mean, it could be anybody from, and you only, an athlete that you hear on the news, you get a sound, clip of some sort. And, some of them stick and some of them don't, Cole Hamels happened to stick because he's very unique and falls in a nice category. He was a good dude, by the way. Great sense of humor. He hired me for a couple things, Cole Hamels.
We always thought he sounded like Kermit the Frog.
Interesting.
In some way.
Kermit the Frog. We had a guy that did Jonesy, Keith Jones, and I never did. A caller did him. And he would do him kind of sounding like Kermit. Keith Jones here, Keith Jones. He sounded like Kermit a little bit. But I could never get Jonesy down too, but this one caller did. Joe Banner, a caller called up imitating Joe Banner. And I immediately, it's kind of like they break the code when if you hear another person do a voice, it's like, oh, you're trying and you're trying everything that you get. And then they do it. And like, it was all, Joe Banner was so simple. It's New York with a cold. Joe Banner had a lot of congestion. He was kind of a whisperer type and very diminutive man, but of course got a New York accent, but you have to do it all nasal right here. And the caller did it. I was like, man, got it. Boom. I did it the next day. It's a stolen voice, but it worked. Yeah, that was the first story when the corporate thing got involved with Banner and Laurie. And we were going wild on these two in like late 90s. I mean, really over the top in the areas that we shouldn't have gone into. They were they went to camp together. They were boyhood friends, I believe, and they went to camp and we simulated them at camp. summer camp and bunk beds and stuff like that. I got called. Bigby called us in on that one.
So have you ever done an impersonation of someone in front of them and you didn't know they were there?
That's funny. Father McManus. I did McManus for Frank Rauscher's class. Mr. Rauscher.
Oh,
you guys
I
have him?
had Rauscher.
Great guy. Great teacher. He was our English teacher. And one of we had speeches at one point. And I remember we had two speeches. The one earlier in the year was a serious speech. The second speech in the second semester was a little lighter. So I was trying to do my act both times. He said, well, you can't do it. You can do it next time. So I basically did my comedy as my speech. And I was doing teachers. I was doing, oh, God rest his soul, Griffiths, man. Mr. Griffiths just died. Nice guy. Eddie Griffiths. So I was doing Griffiths, Father Donnelly, Meister probably. Definitely Father McManus, a couple other teachers, maybe Harry Callis and shit like that. So I was doing McManus. Come on, let's have all the ID cards. And, the class was well received. So Frank Rauscher, the next day, he says, Joe, why don't you come on up and do that again? He's got Father McManus standing outside in the hallway. Oh, hello, gent. Yeah, I didn't really know what to do.
I feel like Father McManus pronounced W's. What are you doing here?
Oh, yeah, Merle does that. A little breath there. Yeah. He also says new, like instead of new. New numerals.
NEU.
Yeah, that's the only one. There was never any. You got to be. Somebody's got to be pranking you for that to happen. I think, unless you're just talking wild out of school. No, I'm not usually in the presence of the newsmakers unless they're, like I said, the Sports Writers Banquet was the best gig.
So when we were at Rome, Father McManus said that he was an exorcist. Did it have anything to do with his relationship with you? Or?
Wow. No, I remember sneaking into The Exorcist at the Crest movies.
Oh,
That was wild.
go to the Dairy Queen next door.
Millie's Lovin'.
Millie's
across the
Lovin',
street. Yeah.
tapioca pudding.
Is that true? Father McManus was an exorcist?
Yeah, he was
Wow.
one of the only two ordained by the Vatican. He said he actually did too, and we would constantly ask him,
Wow.
Rob and I, and he would not talk about it. Yeah.
CIA stuff.
Yeah.
Netflix in action.
So, hey, Joe, Tim wants to know if you can do Alvarado explaining his Ozempic situation.
Smash.
The little blue pill with a story to tell. Little blue pill with a big story. Yeah. What do you think about that? I guess man, we'll use them, I guess.
Use it
Yeah.
until his arm falls off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use it until his arm falls off.
We're on record as saying that for sure. How about this one? Talking about practice?
Man, you got a number of white people chiming in here. Why don't you get some diversity in y'all audience? Whatnot. But it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Talk about practice. Yeah, I was trying to do this bit. Everything's AI now. God, they got this. Did you see the Crook and McCarthy thing with the AI?
Yeah.
Man, they put me out of business with this AI. It's like AI is giving, directions now. Y'all burn it, man. Gun it. Y'all make that light. Don't worry about that. Go about straight ass and take it right. I said right. Motherfucker. We got to figure out how to pull that AI bit together.
Hey, Joe, what if Harry and Hitchcock were out drinking one night?
Wow. Well, wait a minute. Who's calling on Alfred Hitchcock at this point? Oh, you mean Coach Hitchcock? Alfred.
Good evening. I would like to introduce my good friend
Akio.
Harry Callis.
Hello, Alfred. Why don't you drag some of them hot blondes from the movies in here?
I want to talk about The Exorcist, Father McManus. I've made a living out of macabre and eating bread.
Anyone you would ever want to do a duet with, living or dead, who would it be?
Wow, I feel like this is your life. Oh, no. I tried to put that duet thing together, actually. We should do duets. Sinatra had that album. Of course, man, when I was a kid, we did Willie Nelson and Holy when you go to all the girls. Okay. To all the girls. Yeah, that's the duet. That I in my mind. I don't know, man. I don't know. Crazy ass questions. What the hell?
All right, so I got another crazy question. I was going to ask you what the weirdest request was, but I think we just,
That one.
Yeah, I think that's
Alfred Hitchcock.
Harry Callis walking into a bar. So
I did Dick Vitale at a brothel. Well, I used to do celebrity. Hey, baby, it's totally awesome. It's everywhere. Look at this.
were you working?
It's unbelievable. I had Squidly Diddley was in that bit.
If you girls can get all 10 of these things hard, I'll give you $100.
I remember that bit. That's we used to always think of that. Hey, what if? That's a comedy exercise. What if? So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I prefer that over anything I can say. So you do a lot of schools, a lot of Catholic schools. No, I'm not going to talk about the Catholic schools. We're not going to try to touch religion except for.
Why are you dragging the Catholic Church into this?
What I was going to say is, are there any venues that you dream of performing at where you haven't yet? Any big places or
I'm
stadiums
old
or
now,
anything?
man. It's almost over. We got about 20 minutes after this show.
That's all right. Just drive off.
No, we're doing the bigger venues with the orchestra show. I guess it'd be good to play downtown, Academy of Music. Yeah, that would be a nice goal.
Okay.
I never even thought of Big Daddy. God rest his soul. Craziest, most insane dude probably I've ever known. He got us together because he's pushy. He pushed, man. He pushed everything through his whole career. And, he taught me a lot, but he taught me to push too. And he wanted to get into the Academy of Music.
We can do our show with you. Blavitt does it. They got Blavitt on there with the oldies show. We can do it. Academy of Music.
So, yeah, maybe that'd be nice. Other than that, the vet. Was actually, I did the vet with when Doherty and Wood played in the Catholic League playoffs. Boy, how about the people getting hammered down there? Oh, that was a mess.
Especially in a high school game, you get lost in there.
Yeah, correct.
Deep into the bowels. Go see Seamus.
I feel like the Bonner kids were a problem back in the day.
They were, yeah, they
I
were.
feel like Bonner was a major problem. It was always
Well, it was
wasn't
the
Rowan,
prep. It was the
Doherty.
Bonner prep, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
was O'Hara? Somebody fought the prep in center field.
Yes.
Those kids were all
Yeah.
drinking
Yeah.
during school. It was a day game.
Gave us a bad name.
Who was Catholic school kids?
Right. Of course. Of course.
And that was a weird rivalry. I didn't know that prep had a rivalry with like O'Hara. Maybe it was Bonner.
It might have been Bonner and O'Hara, I guess, or
Yeah, that was
both
just Delco.
Delco close.
By the way, I'll be at O'Hara on October 18th with the orchestra. Go on out. It looks exactly like Doherty. Anybody ever been in O'Hara?
Yeah.
It's the same bricks. Must have been the same builder at the same time. It's the same school. I thought the cafeteria is the same. It's crazy.
What is Doherty now? Is it another school?
Spanish?
Spanish.
Matt Marion something or other?
Spanish.
Well, it's nice to see the two of us have a school that's still open.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Strong alumni.
Any North people here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, North and Doherty closed on the same day. Moment of silence for North, Doherty, and the Philadelphia Bulletin. Yeah, I love that, and the reunion. You got two alumni, the North people. They got the North Cap. They only got two competing alumni associations: the Norphans and the North Catholic Alumni Association, and they're always feuding. I worked for both of them, and Doherty. They got several. They got the Soar at the Shore. They have the golf outing every year. There's no school left. Where the hell's all this money going? They're giving scholarships to other schools. It's nice.
Is there a rowdy Catholic school that you like the most rowdy Catholic school you've ever performed at? Where the parishioners are just trouble?
That's funny. I'll be at Wood coming up too. October the 10th. Make a note. I'm giving it. Oh my. What's that? What's the other thing, Glenn?
October 15th.
Oh, okay.
At the Canal.
World. That's at the Canal. World Cafe Live, November 19th. I think that's going to be fun. That's a real venue. Worst Catholic school crowd, most rowdy parish I've ever been in. St. Tim's. I don't know. Down in 2th Street, they're a little rough.
St. Helena's?
No, that's North 2th Street, South 2th Street, Pensport. That wasn't a church though. I was at the Edward O'Malley with Johnny Mays. No, I don't. Nothing stands out. Did you know there's an actual Little Sisters of the Poor? They're in West Philly. They're a thing. I thought that was made up.
My parents told me to be better, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna donate your."
Didn't we play them at Textile?
We might have.
No, that was Judge.
Hey, Joe. Ben wants to know if that's the wrong one. Can we get a Wilson move? Reference?
Wilson Good.
Wilson Good.
I will not be judged by one day. I will not be judged. By the way, I should do his voicemail. Hello, this is www. Wilson Good. I'm not here at the time, but so at the tone, at the sound of the bomb, leave a message. I mean, sound of the beep. Long, fat Back in time.
Yeah, I lived in East Falls, and we had an abandoned brewery at the bottom of my street.
What was the brewery?
It was Hohenadel, it was called.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
What's the other hoe? The dirty hoe.
she was
Oh,
at the
it's
tap.
no, there's Hogarden. Yeah. that's
Yeah.
right. Where was the brewery there?
In East Falls, right at Indian Queen and Conrad Streets, right across
Okay,
from
right,
Billy
Murphy's. Yeah,
Right-
the
right
railroad
across the
tracks
street
is
from
back
that.
there.
Yeah, and when that whole move thing happened, all the neighborhood kids went up to the top of onto the roof and looked at the fires because you could see the smoke and the fires rising up from West Philly. Just a family story, real quick.
That's cute.
East Falls is
No,
a
it's
crazy.
not
It's
Wilson
a
Good,
it's a
that's what I
unique
remember.
neighborhood. You gotta. Is that McDevitt Playground?
It is.
Yeah, you walk across the street. You're over the expressway. Your little, it's like a regular pavement or sidewalk in the neighborhood. Oh, we're gonna walk across the expressway now.
Yep.
Scott's
Big
Lane.
old East Falls. I lived right on Crawford,
St. Bridget.
right off of Scott's Lane. That's
Hey,
right.
Bridges.
Exactly.
I would cover the Red Rindellas in St. Bridget's Parish. Of course, I'm Jewish, but I would go and watch the collection.
I don't know what bet you lost to come here, but we're so thankful to have you on today. And this is your penance, I think. So you've done well.
That was fun.
We appreciate you.
All right. You said you had Crocker on here.
Yes.
He didn't come into the garage, did he?
No.
He
No.
did it remotely, right?
Yeah.
How in the world did you get Crocker to agree to do that? I mean, I can see.
Charity. Yeah,
Oh.
charity. So, Mike, if you want to tell the story, because
Friend of DPF is a gentleman named Brian Buckley. He has a foundation called Battle Brothers, and we raised some money for Battle Brothers. And he and John Crocker are good friends, and
Gotcha.
he agreed to come on and promote Battle Brothers. It was actually a nice.
yeah, we have a plaque
Plaque
somewhere here.
somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
Somewhere. It's somewhere.
Thanks, Buck.
But yeah, that's kind of why. But
Oh,
yeah,
it's great for him to do it.
yeah.
Gotta get McCarthy, Fransky. Fransky's a good dude. Get all those guys. Hi, Tom McCarthy. I have no idea what I'm laughing.
He might not come on.
Yeah, we have a nickname for him that I don't know if he'll
Oh, you fuck with McCarthy?
Yeah.
Dude, he's a nice guy,
Oh,
man.
right.
He
He's
is
a good
nice
dude.
guy.
He's
And
a
I
when,
good
feel
dude.
when you're
terrible.
following Harry Callis, you got to get a little shit.
Wow.
You're
I-
never going to
yeah.
live up to that.
That's
you
that's
know.
true. Well, I think he's lived up to it now. He's everywhere. He's on
He is.
multiple sports.
Football.
He does a great
basketball.
job. McCarthy's come a long way, man. He came from doing the pre-games. He's really
Trenton
good.
Thunder
He's
guy,
really
too,
good. Yeah.
Trenton Thunder play by Joe.
I love listening to the radio while I'm watching the game and just hearing Fransky in LA because LA is like he's angry
He's
at
us.
us. Like he is just
He is great.
angry about
He's the last one
everything.
standing.
Yes.
He's the last one. He had a great line about the umpires the other day. That, you miss a call. Why don't they send these umps back to the minors? It's a call. That's brilliant.
I'm waiting for him, for that woman to be, and I'm like, I don't think LA is ready for that. The woman umpire. I think LA is gonna have a problem.
Wow. I saw her.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah. I think I saw her at the demo club a couple years ago.
Just tell her to calm down if she misses a call. Just
calm down.
That'll go over real well.
yeah,
I'm
that's always good. Have a
Wow,
cranberry.
she's,
and calm down.
Calm down.
She'll point out mistakes you made 3 years ago.
I gotta throw this one out to you. Ray Bob Rhodes. Going
Mm.
get down.
One of my favorites. Well, again, like I said, with their last loss really hurt me. Hurt deep down inside of me. Did I say side of me? They had to bleep Ray Rose's press conference out. He said, MF, this and that. You got to treat this team like they're breaking into your house and sodomizing your wife and kids. That's a quote. Yeah. Ray, so he's doing that bit. This is also at the Adams Mark. He comes over to me and says, I did that line about the sodomy in front of him a couple times. He comes over and he goes, hey, man, do me a favor, man. My boss is here tonight. Lay out that sodomy shit, will you?
So a couple of people came late. Can you do Chick Snapper again, please?
I don't know why they were late. We're on remote. You just got to pull it up on your phone there. By the way, we do have some announcements. Our kitchen is back open. We're selling grilled cheese and pork sandwiches for $1. If you want your pork pulled, that's an extra 50 cents. We also have to-go cups. So if you have to go, we got the cup.
Joe, thank you so much. We appreciate
got it.
you having
Thank
on
you,
here.
brother.
So thank you for
Good
being
to see you
here.
guys.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Joe.
All right. Let's get the fuck out of here.